Buying a model is not the same as assuring it.
Diligence combines questionnaires, your evals, and contractual controls. This AiQualtest episode gives product, engineering, risk, and quality teams a practical, vendor-neutral playbook for vendor model due diligence in 2026. Use a simple operating loop: ask, test, contract, and monitor. That loop keeps conversations concrete when stakeholders disagree about quality or risk. Why this matters: third-party models introduce opacity and shared responsibility.
Enterprises still own customer outcomes and compliance. Structured diligence reduces surprises after procurement. Enterprises shipping AI into banking, insurance, healthcare, and digital operations cannot rely on hallway demos. Buyers, auditors, and internal second-line risk partners ask for repeatable methods, version artifacts, and clear ownership. If you cannot explain how you tested and what evidence you keep, you do not have AI quality, you have optimism. Core concepts come next. Do not memorize jargon, operationalize each idea into cases, metrics, and gates. Concept 1: Assurance Questionnaire. Ask about training data practices, safety testing, incident history, and subprocessors. Demand specifics. In practice, treat this as a measurable property: define what good looks like, attach evidence, and track it across model, prompt, data, and tooling changes. Concept 2: Bring your own evals. Run your gold and safety packs on the candidate. Do not outsource judgment entirely. In practice, treat this as a measurable property: define what good looks like, attach evidence, and track it across model, prompt, data, and tooling changes. Concept 3: Data handling terms. Clarify training use, retention, residency, and breach duties. Get it in writing. In practice, treat this as a measurable property: define what good looks like, attach evidence, and track it across model, prompt, data, and tooling changes. Concept 4: Change notices. Require notice for material model changes. Silent upgrades or risks. In practice, treat this as a measurable property: define what good looks like, attach evidence, and track it across model, prompt, data, and tooling changes. Concept 5: Exit plans. Plan portability and dual vendor options. Avoid hard lock-in without eyes open. In practice, treat this as a measurable property: define what good looks like, attach evidence, and track it across model, prompt, data, and tooling changes. Concept 6: Ongoing oversight. Diligence continues with monitoring and periodic retests. Procurement is day 1. In practice, treat this as a measurable property: define what good looks like, attach evidence, and track it across model, prompt, data, and tooling changes. Here is a real-world pattern. Setting: global manufacturer selecting a vendor LLM for plant maintenance assistance. Marketing claims were strong, but the buyer's safety pack failed on tool abuse cases. Contract talks added change notice clauses and data non-training terms. A second vendor passed the same packs. Procurement chose based on diligence evidence, not demos alone. Notice the pattern: define scope, run controlled tests, capture evidence, decide with named owners, and feed failures back into the next cycle. That is how AI quality becomes a system property, not a slide. Common mistakes slow mature programs. Mistake 1: Accepting vendor scorecards as a substitute for your evals. Teams that skip this create silent risk that surfaces in production or audits. Mistake 2: Ignoring data use and change notice terms. Teams that skip this create silent risk that surfaces in production or audits. Mistake 3: Skipping exit and portability planning. Teams that skip this create silent risk that surfaces in production or audits. Mistake 4: Treating diligence as a one-time RFP checkbox. Teams that skip this create silent risk that surfaces in production or audits. The antidote is discipline: small goal sets, explicit thresholds, change control, and monitoring that connects production incidents back to evaluation suites. Key takeaways for your team. Takeaway 1: Combine questionnaires with your own eval packs. Takeaway 2: Contract for data use, incidents, and change notices. Takeaway 3: Plan exits and dual paths. Takeaway 4: Retest vendors on a cadence. Write these into your team wiki and release checklist so they survive staffing changes. Your next steps this week: assemble a diligence checklist with mandatory eval packs for any new model vendor.
Then, review contracts for training use, retention, and material change notice clauses. Keep the artifacts, prompts, datasets, scores, approvals so you can defend the decision later. Where this fits the AiQualtest method, learn the foundations with AiVELabs, practice with hands-on cases, and validate with governed evaluation evidence.
Visit aiqualtest.com and learn.aiqualtest.com.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe for weekly AI quality, evaluation, and governance episodes. Additional depth for practitioners: treat vendor model due diligence as a controlled experiment. Version the inputs, freeze the environment where possible, record who approved exceptions, and rerun after every material change, model upgrade, prompt edit, retrieval index refresh, or tool permission change. Pair quality metrics with latency, cost, and safety signals so trade-offs are visible to product owners.
When results regress, open an incident-style review even if the feature still looks fine in a demo.
Governed teams prefer boring, evidence-backed releases over surprising wins that cannot be reproduced.